One of the most common actions that will happen on the board are trades. Both you and the opponent should always try to trade your worst pieces and the other side's best pieces, or ideally your worst pieces with their best. And asking this fifth question, which pieces do I want to trade, will often give you an idea of what to do. With the help of this question, you will learn that you want to trade queens, or you want to trade bishop or knights, and often you might come up with a plan on how to achieve that. I'll show you examples, so everything will be crystal clear. So white to move. How would you continue? Please pause the video and answer the question of the section. What are the pieces you want to exchange? Alright. Our worst piece is the bishop on d2. It's limited with our own pawns. And for black, they have pawns on the light squares. So their best piece is the dark squared bishops. Can we exchange our worst piece with the opponent's best piece? When we ask this question, we might come up with this beautiful plan. Knight a2. Temporary, knight goes back. It can transfer to d3 to c5 or e5, that's right. But first of all, white is going to exchange this bishop. Because there is queen on e7 and rook on f8 on this diagonal, black cannot escape from exchange. Because if they move the bishop, we'll play bishop b4, and here we might either win an exchange or black will be forced to come back. So, after knight a2, the next move we are going to play bishop b4, exchange these bishops. Then we are going to bring this knight to its dream position, to d3 first of all, and then we will decide either to c5 weak square or to e5. If we didn't ask this question, what are the pieces you want to exchange, we could easily play a no move like rook c1 or queen e2, just normal moves. But when we know what is our worst piece and what is opponent's best piece, it's possible to come up with this nice plan. Knight a2, bishop b4. If you made it, great job. Let's see more examples in this section about this topic. Another example with similar pawn structure with open c-file. It's black to move. How would you continue? Okay, white has this knight on d3 and it's gonna be on e5 on nice squares. And meanwhile we have this bad bishop on c8, limited with this pawn. Can we trade our bad piece with opponent's good piece? Okay, if you said yes and you found b6, bravo. With tempo, we attack the bishop, and the next move we play bishop a6. It's a pin, and white cannot avoid this exchange. The next move will take it, and we'll have our knight on e4, and white bishop cannot exchange our strong knight on e4. So these positions that it look like equal, we have this e4 square for our knight, white has the e5 square for their knight, and we have here opposite color bishops. Actually, with this nice move b6 and then bishop a6, this smart trade, black is getting an advantage because they exchange their bad piece with opponent's good knight, and they will have here a very strong knight all the game. It's white to move. How would you continue? And what are the pieces you would like to exchange? Please pause the video and think. Okay, black has this strong knight on b4. For a second, let's imagine there is no dead knight. Oh, now with this b file we are going to put serious pressure on the b7 pawn, and also this knight on b4 was defending the d5 pawn. So if we move this knight, two pawns are gonna be weak. Can we get rid of this knight? Yeah, why not? We have knight as well. So we can play knight e1, and then knight e2 or knight d3. Get rid of that knight. And once we do that, both pawns are gonna become problematic for the opponent. Just one question, what are the pieces we want to exchange? After knight e1, knight e3, with this correct plan, we are getting big advantage because of black's two weak pawns, which the knight was covering. It's white to move. How would you continue? Please pause the video and think. Okay. We can notice that here we have two passed pawns, and it would be very good if we could push them. But there is this queen on e5 which just blocks our pawns. The bishop on b2 is limited. It will be a really long way to bring it to g3, the bishop on g2 cannot attack the queen. But what if we could exchange the queens? Then no one could block our pawns, right? But how to exchange the queens? I feel free to pause the video and come up with a plan. Okay, we can play your bishop f1 with a tempo, attacking the knight on a6. And after knight moves, we can play queen h2. Now black is forced either to exchange or go back, which will allow us to push our pawns forward. e5, e6, f6. Or they will exchange. Good. Queen h2, king h2. There is no blocker anymore, and we can push our strong pawns. By the way, in the initial position, if you notice this tactic and offer rook e3 move, bravo. Really, this is a possible move. Black cannot take it because there is a pin, and the next move you want to play queen g3. So if you came up with this plan, bravo. But it's a little bit worse than the bishop f1, because after bishop f7, for example, queen g3, rook e8. Now the rook is on e5 instead of the queen, and it's still not possible to push e5. While the bishop f1 move was coming with a tempo, attacking the knight, and then queen h2. And black is not in time to put the rook on e8 and defend the queen. The next example. It's white to move. How to continue? You can pause the video and think what are the pieces we want to exchange. Okay, if you said, I'm not sure why I want to exchange the queens, I understand you. If you said, I don't know why I want to exchange the rooks, I also understand you. Knight with the bishop, why do we want to exchange? And even if we want to exchange, how we can do that, not clear. So this example is a little bit tricky. Yeah, usually we ask this question, what are the pieces we want to exchange, starting with our pieces, and then pawns. Now let's ask this question, what are the pawns you would like to exchange? Okay, this knight on c3 very much wants to be on d5, in the central square. But there is the c6 pawn. Can we remove this pawn on c6 from the board? If you said yes by playing b4, I don't have words. I don't know any synonym to bravo. Bravo plus. So b4, the next one we are going to play b5. Either we are going to exchange these pawns, or we are going to provoke opponent to play c5, and then we'll get the d5 square. Or we will play b5, black will play rook c8. Anyway, we will exchange these pawns, and we will have a very good knight on d5. And knight sends lots of gratitude to the pawn on b2, which made it possible before b5 exchanging the pawns and putting the knight on d5. My champions, which pieces do I want to trade is a very important question to keep in mind. It might be queens, rooks, bishop, knights, and even pawns. And once again, just like with every question I share with you, feel free to paraphrase your own way. And my shortened version is pieces to trade, up to you. I'm waiting for you in the next section where we will learn the question number 7. No, question number 6. See you there.